from Capitol Hill is Democratic Congressman Peter Welch, a member of the Oversight Committee. Sir, it's good to have you here. And we just got this handed to me a second ago from House Speaker Boehner's spokesman issuing a statement in regard to what we saw happen this morning about the executive privilege. The White House decision to invoke executive privilege implies that White House officials were either involved in the Fast and Furious operation or the cover-up that followed. In your opinion, why not just hand over the documents?
Well, I actually don't know the terms of executive privilege and whether I agree with it or I don't, but the cover-up accusation is really kind of strange. I support a full investigation. I want to get to the truth. That's what Chairman Issa says. And I actually would support the use of contempt power if there was, in fact, stonewalling. But before that serious power is used, we have to have a foundation that gives it some credibility so it's not seen as simply a political vendetta. And there's two things that are really quite suspect now. Number one, the investigation is not investigating the folks who were there at the scene when this whole Fast and Furious policy was developed. In effect, the eyewitnesses. The chairman has refused to interview the Bush administration officials who were the ones that cooked up this policy. That's really a major glaring lack. Number two, the subpoena that up until last Friday was asking the Attorney General to do things that would require him to break the law, turn over grand jury testimony, a violation of the rules of criminal procedure, turn over transcripts of wiretaps, a violation of the United States Code. So I say let's step back, let's in fact get to the bottom of it, but that means bring in the eyewitnesses, bring in the officials who were responsible when this policy was developed, have a complete investigation, and follow it to wherever it takes us.
Sir, from Politico's 44 blog, apparently Attorney General Eric Holder asked the president on Tuesday in letter form to take action, stating that the information that this committee is looking for and the documents were generated in the course of conduct of Fast and Furious post the investigation that took place and the tactics that were used. When we know that this is not what was originally asked for, and it's not in the complete purview of what is the official investigation, what is the point of the congressman trying to go after those documents when he knows that they are not a part of the official investigation?
Well, that's a question many of us are asking. I mean, this is a tragic loss of life. It was a bad policy, but it was initiated during the Bush administration. So you simply have to go to the source, and that's the then Attorney General, the then head of the ATF. And Chairman Issa is absolutely refusing to do that. So there's a kind of stonewalling in the investigation. Then we're requesting documents that don't have anything to do with the underlying issue, which makes the subpoena suspect. And essentially, do we have a drive to get to the truth, or is there simply a lust for the committee to impose contempt on Mr. Holder? I mean, that's the question that I think is out there right now, given the failure of the committee to basically go to the eyewitnesses and do a complete investigation.
Congressman, this is the president's first executive privilege, and he was critical of other presidencies who have used executive privileges. Just to remind everybody, President George W. Bush used 6, Bill Clinton used 14, President Bush, President Bush, H.W. Bush just used 1. In a political season like we're seeing right now, isn't this risky, do you think, for both the Democrats and the president to go ahead and make and invoke an executive privilege at this time?
Well, it is, because there's a constant tug-of-war between the legislature and the executive. The legislature generally wants to get more than the executive wants to give, and that happens in Republican and Democratic administrations. But when any privilege is invoked, the person who feels rejected by the use of that privilege oftentimes draws conclusions about motivations or hiding or cover-up. So I don't have an opinion right now about the president's executive privilege call, since I haven't seen it. It just came out today. But it is risky.
Congressman Peter Welch, we're going to let you get back to work. Thanks for taking time out for us this morning. We appreciate it. And coming up, we're going to have a chance to speak